if you do your budgeting and forecasting properly, you have a crystal ball. Like you can see 6 months into the future like it's tomorrow. I would say probably 95% of the companies that where I'm mentoring or coaching or consulting to, or executives that are CEOs usually, where they're doing say 15 million or less in revenue, 95% of them don't have a budget. And I'm like, I cannot wrap my head around this. And I was talking to a guy who I'm just helping out. We did a podcast swap and I liked him, so I was trying to be helpful to him. So I gave him my course for free. I'm like, hey, he made money in real estate. His wife is a doctor, and they opened a med spa together. Okay. So we're talking about his med spa, and I was like, and again, nice guy, smart guy. His wife too, obviously, she's a doctor. And I'm like, hey, well, help me understand. He sent me his September, just recently, he sent me his September numbers. And I'm like, okay, so you've got 80 grand in revenue, you've got 30 grand in inventory. I'm like, how much of that inventory is toward the 80 grand and how much of the inventory is like for future revenue? He's like, oh, that's a really good question.
He didn't know the answer.
He had no idea. And then I was like, well, help me understand, like, what's your customer acquisition cost and what's your lifetime value? Ballpark. I don't need perfect, just ballpark. Well, I think I'm around $180 in customer acquisition costs and about $7,000 in LTV. I'm like, well, is that revenue or is that profit? He's like, oh, okay, it's like $3,500 in profit. I'm like, okay, that can't be right, because if you're spending $180 to get $3,500, you'd be printing money. And you're losing money. I'm like, and you're losing money. So that means you're either wrong on one number, the other number, or both probably by a lot. And they've been running this business for 2 years, and they're not dumb people. And then I was talking to a guy. So like when I started, I was CEO of a Forex prop trading firm down here in Miami for about a year and a half. And I met the CEO of another prop trading firm who just by coincidence lives out in Scottsdale where I am now. Again, pure coincidence. And I was, went into his office actually yesterday. And I was like, Sebastian, I'm like, can I see your budget? He's like, we don't have one of those. And I'm like, dude, you're doing 6 million. I'm like, how are you, like, and again, same thing, like, what's your customer acquisition? What's your lifetime value? And I was like, and the thing is, he's making $1.5 million, like he's putting $1.5 million to the bottom line. So I'm like, I said, look, I said, you've already solved the hard part. You have a profitable business. You've solved the hard part. I said, but you're going to be able to grow your top line so much better and your profitability so much better. Because the other thing I tell people, and I'm curious if you've done this with your business, but what I tell people to do is, even if you don't have outside investors, even if you self-funded it yourself, you should have a board of directors with at least 3 people. The CEO, of your business, which, you should have someone who has industry expertise in the industry that you're in, and you should have someone that has broad experience. Ideally, one of those 2 people puts, even if you say you need $1 million in startup capital and you had the $1 million yourself, put in 900 of your own and bring in 100 from someone else so that they've got some skin in the game. Give just a little bit of equity to the 2 board members. Have quarterly board meetings. Okay, have your board meeting in December where you approve your budget for the following year. I promise you, if you do that, your business is going to grow at least 20% faster, and your profitability is going to go 30% faster, minimum.
And I mean, in my hearing you say that, the first thing that comes to mind is like, it's almost like, how we have our staff, everything's about accountability. It's like there's like certain things that we have to check every day in order for things to get done. So it almost feels like that's the accountability for the person at top. Like, like hearing you say it, it's like you're holding yourself accountable now with, again, people with skin in the game, but you're having to not answer to them, but talk it out with them. So there's something to be said about that.
It's huge. And the thing is, like, I probably prepared for over 100, board meetings in my life. And I'm a very, very data-driven guy. One of the first things I do whenever I join a company, whether I'm trying to help someone with theirs or I'm like when I went into Top Tier Trader here in Miami, again, we're doing 12 million in revenue, no budget. And I was like, wow. What?
Right.
So first thing I did is I built a bottom-up budget. The second thing I did was I had them build it. I had some guys I worked with in the past build me a data warehouse. So I had really good data that I can make data-driven decisions. Now, you don't want analysis paralysis, but when you have data available to you that will allow you to make a better decision and it's at your fingertips, like, use it. And so I was talking to Sebastian, and I said, okay, well, so, have you looked at your payouts by traffic source? So what are your payouts for your affiliates? What are your payouts when you're doing paid advertising? What are your payouts when it's coming from social media? What are your payouts when it's coming from email marketing, just as an example? And he's like, he has no idea. And I'm like, well, you might have affiliates that are bringing you a bunch of revenue, that you're losing money on. I mean, years ago, I remember I had this mentor of mine. It's funny, I say old. He's now he sadly passed away in his late 50s, but and I'm 59. But he would sell. So he had sold the company to Oracle for $50 million, and this guy, like me, I'm a great salesman when I believe in the product. He could sell ice to an Eskimo, right? I can't do that.
Right.
But anyway, so he would sell these projects, right? He would bill me out at $400 an hour. He'd take $200 an hour for selling it. I'd get $200 an hour for doing all the work. He'd take half the credit. It was a great deal, right? And so, what he'd do is he would drop me into these companies that I knew nothing about. Like I never knew anything about them. So I remember there was this one. They were maybe 5 or 6 months away from going under, from bankruptcy. And basically he's like, okay, you have 2 weeks to figure out what's wrong with this company and fix it. Now, my experience is 90% of the time, any company can be fixed. 10% of the time, you're fucked. Like, it can't be fixed.
Right.
But 90% of the time...
That's strong, though, 90%.
It's much higher than people think.
Yeah, I would think it would be like a 50-50 situation.
When I started at top tier, the day I started as CEO, MetaQuotes pulled our trading license, our platform license, and we lost 60% of our revenue the day I started. 6 months later...
turned that completely around. Right.
6 months later, I had the revenue back to where it was, more profitable, and 6 months after that, we're printing money.
Yeah.
But so anyway, so he drops me into this company, and they did. I don't know if you're old enough to know what a CD-ROM is, but back when they used to do CD-ROMs, so they did high-end CD-ROMs, and they were getting something like 40% of their revenue was. I forget if it was. I can't remember if it was coming from a channel partnership they had with Yahoo or with YouTube. I can't remember now. It's so long ago. But anyway, so I didn't know anything about the business. So what I did was I interviewed every single person in the company, from the secretary to the CEO. And everyone in between.
That's like Elon Musk does that.
Does he?
Yeah, that's what they said he did.
And
Twitter.
I spent, sometimes I spent 20 minutes with some people.
Right.
Sometimes I spent 2 hours, depending on the person and what they had to contribute. And anyway, so I present to the CEO 2 weeks later, and he's like, "How the fuck do you know my business better in 2 weeks than I do in 10 years?" I'm like, "I don't."
Talk to his people, though.
I don't. I said, the secretary had 3% of the answer. You had 12% of the answer. Your chief marketing officer had 8%.
Right.
All I did was listen and synthesize. You had the answer. And if you'd taken the time to talk, I didn't say this, but if you took the time to talk to all 40 people, you'd have come to the same conclusion I did. All we had to do to fix the business was change the commission structure for their salespeople and fire their single biggest channel partnership. All the revenue coming from their channel partnership, that was 40% of the revenue, they were losing money on. So they went from hemorrhaging money to profitable just by getting rid of all that business and changing their commission structure.
Here's the truth. Most people are walking around chronically dehydrated, and the water they're drinking to fix it is actually working against them. It's stripped of minerals, or it's loaded with contaminants and microplastics, and it's all coming from these plastic bottles. So you're drinking more, but you're getting less. So my team and I, we fixed that. We created No Days Off Premium Water. We take it through an 8-step reverse osmosis process. It comes out contaminant-free, PFAS-free, microplastic-free. Then we put back what your body actually needs: calcium, magnesium, and potassium. The electrolytes you sweat out, and the minerals that run over 300 reactions in your body. We balance it to an 8.1 alkaline pH for hydration that works at the cellular level. And we can it in aluminum, never plastic. So nothing leaches out into your water, and nothing sits in the landfill. That's the hack. Hydration done the right way. Not more water, better water. But I'll be straight with you. Water is only half of it. The other half is showing up and doing the work. No days off. That's the whole reason this brand exists. So here's what I want to do for you. If you're local to, or even just visiting, Nashville or Miami, I want to give you a free workout at Legacy. On us. No catch. You come in, you train with our team, you feel what No Days Off is all about. So if you're serious about your health and you're anywhere near Nashville or South Florida, come see us. Book a free session at legacyfit.com. Walk into Legacy and tell us the big dog sent you. We'll take care of the rest.